Over the past year, lumber prices have skyrocketed 350%. I don't know why I'm saying that with a smile on my face. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. But what's it mean? What's it mean to the housing market? What's it mean to building a new house? I've got some implications coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Cohorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Oh my goodness. So you've heard this by now. Lumber has absolutely skyrocketed over the past year. And I would tell you that that's not because, well, it plunged during the pandemic. And then of course, everything's up since then. If you look at any chart showing lumber prices, we are at all-time highs. This is absolutely staggering. And so the big questions are why and when will it end and what should you do about it? I'm going to address each of those, okay? But I actually saw something very interesting recently. I'm going to post the article in the description below and share you a couple graphs here, but it's a very interesting perspective about what this actually means for home builders, okay? So say, for example, you build houses and that's your job or your company, that's what you do. And you've got 50 grand and you go to Big C Lumber or you go to Home Depot or you go to Lumber Depot or whatever it's called, wherever you go get your lumber, you got 50 grand, you say, all right, I need to buy some lumber to build some houses. 1 year ago, that 50 grand could have built 10 houses, okay? Today, that 50 grand would build 2 houses. It's just staggering what has happened to lumber prices and what this actually means to the housing market, to the new construction market. And so what's this mean? Why did this happen? Where do we go from here? What should you do? I got that right now. So the big question is why? Why did this happen? Why are we seeing this surge in lumber prices? And there's actually sort of 2 reasons, and not to make it really boring, but it's macroeconomics. I mean, this is straight out of your economics class. It's supply and demand. Now, supply started to get crunched apparently during the Trump administration when they started messing around with some tariffs. Remember that? Remember when that was the big headline instead of coronavirus and inflationary fears and all that sort of stuff back when tariffs and the trade wars were the big headline. And there was some tinkering with the tariffs with Canada, believe it or not, with lumber. And so that started influencing supply. And then of course we had COVID, right? Where all of a sudden no one wanted to go into anyone's house. Everyone was unemployed. And you know, whoever thought they were going to build a house back in January of 2020, by the end of February 2020, they had different ideas. Everything was put on hold, right? And so the folks that are in the lumber business or in new construction business, they put everything on hold, likely because they were themselves shut down, but also lots of other cancellations. And so the supply just sort of stopped, okay, slowed down. But then demand absolutely surged. And you know this. I mean, things just turned on a dime. Within just a couple of months, we went from, all right, everything's on hold, to, wow, things are heating up, to, wow, there's panic buying. And all of a sudden, building new homes just went absolutely through the roof. And so when you've got supply constrained, and you've got demand increasing, that drives prices up. And that has just been exacerbated here over the past even 5-6 months here, driving prices up through the roof. And then the second question is, so how long will prices stay this high? I mean, if I have plans to build a house or I have plans to do something and it requires getting some lumber, should I just hold off for a couple weeks? Should I hold off for a couple months? When's this whole thing gonna blow over? I mean, that's anyone's guess. I still, no one knows the future, but as long as the supply is constrained and demand stays high, the price is gonna stay high. Will it fluctuate? Yeah, it's moving wildly, okay? Every day, things are moving extremely fast all throughout the economy, but certainly in some of these commodity prices like lumber. And so yeah, I mean, could this change tomorrow? Could it change soon? I hope so. In fact, recently we've seen some pressure on prices, but listen, if the supply is still constrained and demand remains high, you're going to see higher than normal prices. I mean, the price of lumber has been very consistent over the past few decades, and then we've had this unbelievable surge over the past year. So right now, there's some forces at work to try to remove tariffs completely and restore things in the friendship and working relationship between the U.S. and Canada. That's not going too well, though, especially after the pipeline deal fell through, and there's a few other things. And so hopefully these countries can work together and streamline things. And then the other thing that I would hope is anyone that actually has timber on their property that they could sell it. I mean, you're selling it. We did. I mean, one of our offices has a wooded area, and we knew we were going to have to, kind of open that up at some point. And we said, all right, let's sell this stuff. These prices are high. So hopefully the supply actually increases here if we can get people back to work and all that sort of stuff. But it's really anyone's guess how long this supply shortage will be there and the demand is going to be escalated. So that's some of the why prices are up for lumber and some context as to, well, how long will they remain that way? I mean, my overall assumption would be hopefully we get this worked out within the next 6 to 12 months, hopefully, right? That's and the experts that I read are hoping that as well, expecting that as well. We'll see. So then what should you do about it? I mean, that's why this really matters. Listen, if you are already in the build phase, if not only have you purchased the land, you're already in the build phase, you got to talk to your builder, you got to work with your certified financial planner to see where can the additional dollars come from. You really do. The National Association of Home Builders suggests that on average, the typical house is going to increase $36,000 in cost because of this price increase of lumber. And so if you're already in the build phase, it's sort of inevitable. And likely you've already talked to your builder about this. You're not hearing this for the first time from a guy on the Wise Money channel on YouTube. So now it is work with your certified financial planner, work with your builder, see what your options are on how you can stomach this higher increase, okay? If you are planning to build, maybe even you bought the property but you haven't started building yet, then I'd have you ask the question, do you have to build right now or can you wait to see if this blows over, okay? Can you wait 6 to 12 months? I've got some folks who he is disabled and they've been wanting to build, and we've been talking about, well, can you hold that off for 12 months maybe until these prices cool back down? I mean, that could save you 30 grand, could save you 36 grand. You know, we're obviously seeing CPI inflation numbers came out last week. I'm going to assume they surprised the Fed. They didn't surprise any of us. I mean, we've all been to the grocery store. We see what's happening with prices. But if that momentum continues with prices, maybe these lumber prices continue high for a while. But if you are planning to build, but you don't have to build just yet, then I'd consider delaying. If you're planning to build and you've got a time requirement, and listen, I've got to be in the house by this time next year or whatever, and you can't afford to delay, then you've got to work with your certified financial planner and see what can you do to mitigate this or to manage this higher cost of building, okay? And then the same thing would apply for building, but for other things that other appliances and other things. Everything's having a supply crunch right now. I mean, you could blame it on COVID and the unemployment numbers. You could blame it for a time on the Suez Canal. You could blame it on a whole bunch of things. There's all sorts of factors. Back before the pandemic and before all the money printing, it was thought that, the way a butterfly flaps its wings in Japan, that could influence markets over in the US. I mean, things are that much connected and they're all connected together, that butterfly effect. So we'll see. We'll see here on where this goes. But if you're planning to build, work with your certified financial planner, talk about, all right, where can I get the additional funds for? If you can delay, I'd consider doing that. Right now, we are seeing surge in inflation, despite what the Fed has been saying. There's no doubt about it. And to me, what are the implications of that? Well, one of them, housing prices and building costs have been going up. So work with your certified financial planner. If you're hoping to build, if that's been a goal of yours, talk to them about the right strategy. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, corehorn.com. That's Corehorn with a K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there too, or just give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.